The recording started now, so good to go.
What's up?
What's going on?
All right. I'm gonna dig into some Q&A.
Yeah. We posted the forum topic in the VIP forums, and we got a couple replies. So we figured we would address those in this quick little video and kind of go over some stuff that people wanted to know about. So we've prepared some awesome slides since Jason's a presenter,
Yeah.
and we can go through some of that.
Let me share those slides. Go share screen. Oh, I gotta click the button. Hey, before we do that, so I found this website, Pronounce Wiki, how to pronounce Acuitas. Because I know, I think Crow pronounces it Acuitas.
Right, and I always said Acuitas, and it doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
but
Well, that is the English pronunciation, anyways. If anyone wants to go to this and look at it, this is how you figure out how to pronounce it. Even, but it's funny because some of these Chinese pronunciations they pronounce it like crow, so it's kind of all over. And I don't think, at the end of the day, I don't think anything is the wrong way to pronounce it or whatever. So I just thought I'd throw that out there before we
can
jump
you
into
can,
this.
can you press the sound so we can hear it?
I don't think it'll play through. Let's see. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't have the sound
I got you.
routed through here.
I got you.
But
Okay.
he says Acuitas.
Acuitas.
Italian one.
Well, that's
The Italian one
this
goes
is
Acuitas.
this is important information. This is groundbreaking stuff here. So now we know. All
All
right.
right. Yeah. So all right. Let's. So yeah. Here's we got some questions we want to talk about. So yeah, Jared and I created some little slides so we could have a nice little things we can talk about. So let me go to the next slide. So these are questions off our forum, and like Jared was saying, we had people that suggested possibly making a video about it, and so we just decided today, we were supposed to do one on Sunday. There was a holiday here on Monday, so kind of everybody was out. So we've been really busy this week, but we just decided hey, let's just jump in and spend like half hour and just crank some of these questions out, and just let people know what's up. So yeah, the first question is the black paper features and deliveries. Has the vision changed at all? This is actually condensation of a question that was asked before, which was a little bit wordy, but basically, it was kind of so what are the features and the things you're going to deliver on, and what has changed, right? I think the big thing with that is, we're pretty much still, we feel like we're on target with what the black paper timeline was. And let me go over to what does that timeline say. So this was our timeline for 2018, right? Again, we had a lot of these things we already did before. In the Q2, we started getting, paper trading working. We had a bunch of, the UI and the foundation stuff we worked on. The analyzer, we started talking about and prototyping the visual strategy builder. It's VSW here. I forget what the W even was, but workspace, visual strategy workspace. Yeah, we rebranded that to visual strategy builder. Real-time data processing. Yeah, it's all in and everything. That's what handles all the WebSocket and 1 second candle updates that we get from the exchanges. We did, let's see, worked more on that. Yeah, analyze information, prototype. We didn't do the ICO, of course, but the VIP is basically what the ICO morphed into. And then we launched, I guess the Q3. We launched the VIP. Live trading testing begins. This one we decided that we were going to wait until we got all of the stuff below, right? The strategy testing and refinements in, and basically live testing. Again, we've said this before, but it's not like a huge jump from paper trading to live testing. So we just been focused mostly on in that area is just getting again the paper trading, working, and prior to really getting the paper trading working, we really want to get the back testing working. And these things do work in the system, but as we've said, we've sort of I don't know what the word is kind of be. We've taken on other things that we thought, we wanted to get done before, in order to, once we do launch, we have some other pieces in place. And one of those things is the cloud development. So that was actually what we really want to do. And this, Jared's already talked about this in videos before. We just want to get a simple licensing in initially, but I think, as we were talking about it more, in the way that Richard and I were working on the code base, we basically just decided to, just start the foundation for the cloud and everything, at the same time we were starting the licensing. The one way we could have done that is we could have just thrown up a simple server, just gone super minimal on it and just been like, yeah, okay, here's our licensing server. We know we're going to have to replace it someday, once we want to wrap all this stuff together, into the big platform and everything. And I think we just decided that, we got these pieces already that we're going to be using, so let's just do it now. We're not building out the entire cloud part yet, obviously, but again, what we have in there now is we have a way to manage accounts, we have a way to manage licenses, we have a way to manage products that we're selling on the website, and we have I forget what else we have. We have a couple other things in there basically that allow us to do all the back office stuff for all the front end. So when we do get these questions, the people could have, and after V1 launches of, hey, what's going on with my license or whatever, it's basically the team's going to have a pretty easy way to get into everything and manage it. So that's what cloud is all about now, and we've pretty much done that. Let me go back. So yeah, I think we're still pretty much on target with what the black paper timeline was. We put out, like in the Crow video, that we're looking at a September beta. So I still think we're gonna be on that. Again, we'll have more details of that coming over the next few weeks. Right now, the big effort that Richard and I have is basically taking all the licensing and all those things that we had built now and getting the bot to work with that. So we've done videos before where it's just like, we've just shown like, you put in like a fake license ID and everything, and you just get right into the bot. Well, now it's like we have to do that stuff for real. So it's like, we have all these rules on the server that, constitutes like what a valid license is, a valid account and everything. And so that basically is all, like, I'm working on that, I've been working on it this week, basically is getting that tied in and also getting that flow correct. So, when somebody starts up the bot, and they enter their information in with their license, it's just, the flow works correctly. It's not, like too burdensome for them. And, it just works right. So that's what I'll be wrapping up this week on that. And again, once we have that wrapped up, then we have some other adjustments that we'll be doing since the data mirror is up, with how we're collecting the seed data and stuff like that, because we don't have to do that big fetch from the exchanges anymore since we have the data. So, that's going to be hopefully wrapped up soon. And then once we have that, then we'll be back to this point sort of where we're at before we actually started working on the backend stuff. And, that means basically I'll be continuing back on the, the visual strategy builder stuff. And I think Richard's going to jump on some of the paper trading and other backend things we have. So question. So yeah, I guess if I do this and then if I do this, the one thing about that is that I think we're foundationally at a better place on the whole backend and the cloud stuff than we expected. We were basically talking about, Q1 of next year to sort of dig into the marketplace and everything. And I think actually because we've done like a lot of good foundational work now, and we've, I think we've solved a lot of problems that we just kind of weren't sure how long they were going to take before. I think this will probably happen sooner, like the cloud marketplace. I think the beta could be sooner. I don't know how much sooner, but I think it's looking better than that. And then the cloud V1, I totally see that launching before Q2 probably. So in some of these things we're actually doing pretty good time. this trade V2 beta, TradeBot V2 beta, that's something we'll have to keep talking about more, because we basically said that we're not going to be we did this before we thought about it more too, of what we wanted to um, have our major versions have the basically the distance between them, and we like we said, we don't want to be one of these companies that's forcing everybody to upgrade major versions like every 6 months or something like that. Like I hate upgrading my iPhone and everything every year, because right, it's like, so you know we're gonna space that out. That's not gonna be in Q3. It's not even gonna be in 2019 probably. I think we're talking about we're looking at like a 12 to 16 month or 12 to 18 month major release cycle. Um, so yeah, I think that is that thing. We'll get to the DEX stuff in a little bit because somebody asked that question. Let me go back. So those are the timelines and the Combinator. Yeah, so Combinator. This was one of the things we had talked about in the black paper, and yes, the answer is yeah, the game's still on for that. It's going to be after our initial V1 release. It will be a minor release, because technically the Combinator is not very difficult. Again, we already do have for back testing. We can route throw a time series through the back testing to run all of our strategies and our indicators over and everything. So the Combinator is just going to combine all that. And actually, let me jump to that. I can't like jump 3 slides ahead, so I gotta do this whole stupid thing. I probably should order these better. So yeah, right, it's like basically this is one thing Jared really wanted, which was for us to be able to enter all these ranges in, and then it just crunches over all the ranges and everything. So yeah, I mean, from a technical standpoint, this is not very difficult. The difficult part of this whole thing is getting the pieces in there just to run one set of values through. So once you have ranges of values through, it's just a process of iteration and just doing that. So this isn't like a super huge priority for like V1, to get the V1 out the door, but it is something, that we definitely have on the list for, some kind of minor release, probably for like, or 0.5 or something. So
one thing that's not on that thing is because we put that in later was the different candle types. I have in the diagram, a period size, but we're also another line on there probably should say OHLC or OL2, whatever, whatever different candle you want to use in the backtest also would be, whatever you're going to do in backtesting is going to be reflected in Combinator as well. So,
yeah.
Just to be clear.
And we'll get to those. Yeah, well, there's another question that we asked too that's cool about the candles and everything that we'll get to in a minute. We can talk about that more. But yeah, so Combinator is still going. The marketplace was another part of question number one that this one of our VIP members asked. And yeah, the marketplace is like, it's totally a cornerstone of the bigger strategy for us, right? It was never planned as basically like a V1 release, like out the gate, we're gonna have the marketplace going. If we looked on, again, if we go back one slide to this guy, we talked about we starting to work on it, Q1 of next year. So we'll see marketplace next year. And I think as we get closer to that, we'll let people know what the timeline is going to be. I think one of the things too that the kind of relates to all this stuff with the black paper timelines and everything is that doing a lot of software, unless you really want to try to plan like every week out of like I'm doing this task every week, it's like I don't ever feel like I work on software and it's just like, yeah, this is the date and it's always gonna happen by this date and we've accomplished everything and we're ready to go, right? It's like it's more been like a process of like you bite off pieces and you kind of tweak and adjust, and some things pop up where you're like, oh, that would actually be a better idea, or some things drop off, so it's like, well, I still think we're on course, in general. I feel like that's what's happened, with this, is like we've just, made some decisions here and there and decided like, yeah, actually, we better to kind of, we just do this part now, or, if we do this like later, or, we'll probably get to that earlier, um, so I think a lot of timelines and everything we have in the black paper, it's like we still want to do, those things. We still believe in all that stuff. And just, the schedule is just going to be like, I guess it's the way to say it is, it's just sort of a little more flexible, I think, when the actual rollout happens than, what people might think when they read something like that and be like, oh, you said, this or whatever. It's like, yeah, we're going to be close to that. But, again, it might be before or after, but it probably will be, it could be more, or we might have dialed something down or something. So that's how I'm still looking at all this stuff. We know it's important, we want to get out for V1 and everything. And I think, we're still really focused on that. And, like you said, the licensing and making sure like all of our back testing pricing and all that stuff is really, critical in the beginning. So
yeah, you have to build the foundation first. If the foundation is no good, then the rest of it's all crap anyway. So
yeah, and this isn't something either that we can have that's just like, failing and everything too. I mean, it has to work, so we've already been through that before. Okay, next slide. So go to next slide. Cool. Question number 2. What built-in strategies can we expect to see at launch? And what we basically, when we were talking about putting this together, we were like, actually what this is really, what built-in indicators are we going to provide to people so they can make their own built-in strategies or their own custom strategies. I think the quick answer to that is this one down at the bottom. It's like we'll probably target providing 3 custom strategies, and we have our guys working with Jared that are doing all of their trading view stuff and everything, and so we're targeting like some really cool ones that I think people are going to like, and as we get closer to wrapping those up and telling people about them, we'll post them. Outside of that, though, what's really going to be key with this is basically providing all the pieces that allow people to build and tweak as they go, right? And so we're going to have a lot of the typical things, the BB, the EMA, SMA, MACD, RSI, Stotch, ADX, AO, the OBV, some of those, the AO and OBV, I think, are pretty much like I only see those mostly on TradingView, so I don't even see those on some of these other bots. So I think that's a couple things that we'll have implemented, and we'll probably be pulling in kind of some more of those things too as we go along. More indicators and things that are going to give people like a good palette.
And to be fair, that's a really that's a short list, and we know because we want to get that out the door. The vision is going to be lots of these things, and it's really more about, we're going to provide you what we think are probably 3 like sane starting strategies that you can use in the analyzer. But the key for me, and I hopefully what everybody else sees, is once you can do the visual strategy, it's like with all of these different things and the varied conditionals you can use, you're going to be making your own strategies, or again, marketplace, somebody else is making these awesome ones and leasing them back to you. So we understand the need to give some out of the box that we say, okay, we've done our back testing and it shows that these are okay. The power is going to be in the customization and not doing that in a JSON file, right? It's in a nice layout, right? So
no editing, none of that text editing bullshit. I think the other thing to keep in mind too is that our goal is not to just pile on like 500 indicators and everything. I think again, our guys are gonna have the ones that they use the most, and then we'll have probably a list outside of that people are interested in. But I wouldn't expect to see I don't think anyways 30 or 40 indicators, right? It's like we should be able to you know, collect a good group and still have it be, where they're effective, but, it's not like overwhelming, like which one of
Yeah,
these things should I choose? It's
and some of
like,
that comes down to just UX, right? I mean,
yeah,
again,
totally.
if the tool is going to do both, if we're saying, look, we want to make it easy for everybody, then part of making it easy is hiding a lot of that stuff. But at the same time, you might have an advanced trader that's a pro trader that wants everything. So whether that's going to be you click I want the advanced view or I want the simple view. It could be something like that. But it's definitely something that's going to happen. As far as I would love to see more indicators, more better, right? But not all at once, not all in your face. Maybe logically grouped in lagging and leading indicators, and
Right.
and maybe some suggestions or whatever. But yeah, if the question was essentially what am I going to get on V1, and we said okay, let's narrow it down to like the basics, and to be honest, a lot of those are easy to do. To do sanity checks on.
Mm-hmm.
When we put these in the bot, we can go to another engine, and when we run them against similar data sets, we should get similar results, and then we know that everything's cool.
Yeah.
We're absolutely gonna support custom strategies. If somebody says, hey, a guy comes, a VIP owner comes in and says, hey, I really want this strategy, and here's how it plays out in Pine, or here's the logic behind it, and we analyze it and we like it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's something we can
Yeah.
code in and make a feature. That's absolutely doable.
Oh yeah, totally. Yep.
So
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah, I mean, it's like if you just have to take, even what we've said here and exponentially, calculate all these together. It's like you can make like a ton of strategies. Um, so yeah, I mean, we have, multiple operators we're going to run on these. These are just some of the indicator rules that we're having. I think we're even calling them conditions
right.
in the strategy builder, but again, cross up, cross down, stop, gain, stop loss, over, under indicator, and each of these can have, their varying little settings to tweak them, by percentages or, fixed amounts, whatever, right? So we'll have those. We'll be adding more of those too as we go along. Thing that I'm excited about mostly on all this stuff though, really, and I had to code up a bunch of stuff to make this work, but our candle sources are going to be awesome because we aren't just going to support, regular OHLC, right? We got HL2, which is, your high low average, your HLC3, your high low close average, and then your OHLC4,
Yeah, true mid.
which again, yeah. So I'm excited about that because, again, it's like I think you can do a lot of cool stuff, depending on how you want to dial the candles in on those. And so I think that's going to be fun. I think people are going to, like having those different candle sources. So yeah, there is a question two, and what we see probably, 3 at launch. So more forthcoming. Question. Oh yeah. So there was a couple more in question two. So they continued. What is the cost of the major updates? Good question, Jared.
Yeah, I mean, I put it like this. It's as simple as if I buy Windows 10 today, how much is Windows 11 going to cost me in a year and a half, 2 years? Don't know. What we do know for sure is how much of a discount we can give to existing license holders and VIP holders, because we know how many sales we're doing. We know, what we can absorb, and we're fully able to say yes, whatever the price is. Depending on what we've built into it, maybe we built in a bunch more, maybe not, maybe it's less. I don't know, but we'll price it fairly. And if you are an existing license holder of either standard or pro, you'll get 25% off, whatever that number is. And if it's VIP, it's 75% off, and that's perpetual forever.
Yeah.
And like we said before, you own that license. I don't know what kind of support we're talking if you stay on V1 to a V2. Again, we can probably talk about that, but it's not going to break. Like, we're not going to say, okay, we've moved on to V2, so V1 is dead and we're going to shut it off or whatever. That's not the case. But major versions have major upgrades, and hopefully people want to upgrade. But you're definitely not bound to do that. You'll always own that license.
Yeah, I think the one thing to say about that is that, again, the one thing, that everything is dependent on is the exchanges, right? So, you could have a V1, running for 4 years, provided that, the exchanges don't drastically change their API.
Sure.
So I think, we'll do our best to, um, provide people with the support as long as we can for those versions. There might just be some points where, it's like, hey, um, we still support this stuff, but the exchanges, they've changed all these things. And so, we'll cross that road when we get there. And, um, I don't think it's, too big of a deal now, but, again, we're thinking about those things. And so, we'll have, I think as time rolls on, we'll have more of an idea of what all that stuff means, on the exchange side. But on our side, it's like we version all the APIs and everything anyway. So, that stuff should, always work. And if not, then we'll make it, work for that point release or whatever. So, okay, so decentralized exchanges, right? Yeah, we have mentioned that we do have interest with them. I think this is like something we put on the timeline, is like a V2 type of thing. CryptoBridge, altcoin.io. What we had on our list, and I think, we talked about our big things, is we want volume, right? And that seems to be one of the biggest thing with the dexes right now, is like, where's the volume? BitShares, I guess has a pretty good amount, but the big one, that we want to look at, and that, we're kind of really keeping our eye on, is the Binance one, because, they're the king right now. And so, if they have a dex and they can get the volume on that dex, then,
Right. And as far as we know, there's no information about what that looks like or how it's going to work. So
right.
We'll be in the same boat as everybody else who wants to support it in the future, unless you're an insider. If you're an insider, call us. We'd love to know more about it.
Yeah, I think, now it's just kind of like, I think it's like in crypto, it's like we're early adopters compared to the rest of, society and everything, but it's like DEX adopters are like the early crypto adopters in my mind, and so there's still I think there's still a long ways to go on the DEXs, and getting, even like people in crypto, like using them and exchanging on them and stuff like that. And, without the volume or anything, it's kind of like, you're not really going to get any trades or anything. So I think it's just something we have to keep, watching, and keep our eye on it, as we go forward.
Yeah.
But we love them. They're awesome. So it'd be cool if everybody was like using them, next month or something. Question number 3. Can you start a Telegram group, Jared? Can you?
Yeah, we did. We opened it. And it's fine. We basically, we don't want to get inundated with a lot of questions, because we're not always there. It's if the expectation is that you want a place to chat with other people about this product, to other people who own the product or prospective people, that's fine. We just, through our experience with CPB in January, which maybe that's maybe that's an outlier because it was a crazy time, but it was impossible to keep up with everybody. And everybody was like, I'm in chat, where are you? And it's like, well, I'm sleeping because you're in Turkey and I'm on the East Coast, So yeah, we'll open up, we have a Telegram open, we'll post that, and then, we'll probably do a Discord too, but just as long as everybody understands, that's, if people like to chat and they want a chat medium specifically for this product, great. We'll make the official rooms, and you can join those up. And we will attempt to be active in those when we can, but it's not going to be all the time, essentially.
Yeah, and I think, I think it goes without saying that, our goal for these things is not to just be in there like chatting for everybody. It's to sort of be able to provide, like a, I guess marketing people would call it like a channel, where we can get information out to people. We have all of our, people really need support on something like an order or something like that. It's like they can contact us through our, our support channel and everything. But yeah, it's like, it's exactly what you said. We can't, it's like when you're busy working on a lot of things, you're not going to be spending all day in chat and everything. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll give them the group. Is there a next slide? Let's see. Cool. Arbitrage. So will that be just offered to VIP members in the future? Yes, we said we were going to offer arbitrage to people, the VIP people, when it's released. I think that's the big thing. You've talked with Crow about arbitrage. We talk about it like quite a bit. We want to have that feature, but it's not something I think that we were actively trying to pursue for V1, but it is definitely something that VI people and Pro people will get access to, right?
Right. Well, I tried to be clear too before that it was. I don't want the perception to be that we're ping ponging all over the place and we're going to do arbitrage now. No, that's because it's my job to come up with some of these other ideas and theorize about them and basically mull them over. And that doesn't take away from the coding because I'm not doing any of the coding. So, myself and a couple of our advisors, that's what we're doing is trying to, work on the strategy side and figure out what the market wants and what these tools can provide. Maybe some ideas we throw out are bad and we just don't do them, right? But it's not taking away from development time because it's not being developed right now. Again, as I said before, if we determine that it's a thing and that we can provide it, by its very nature, arbitrage is a fleeting beast. It's not there very long, and certainly not in high volume. So if let's say we had the awesome arbitrage engine, and 2,000 people were trying to use it, there's going to be a lot of people who don't get in on it, right? So it just kind of made sense for it. If that kind of thing comes to fruition, that would be a VIP only thing because that number is smaller. So.
Yeah, and I think as far as, on the implementation side of it, it probably will have to be one of those things where it just has to be as simple as possible. And, if the opportunity is there and you get into it, you got it. And, I could see it falling off like pretty quick, because the people have executed on that already. So I don't foresee like us trying to build, some peer-to-peer, kind of network that could, connect every, the other nodes, bots, and say, hey, you can still get into this or you can't. I mean, that's probably a product just in itself you could build.
Should have it done yesterday. What are you talking about? Yeah. I thought you were done with that.
Yeah. So if when we do come out with it or something, it's not going to be it's gonna be just probably pretty straightforward, and it's gonna either work or it won't. And it won't be because the bot can't make it work. It's because the opportunity is to get the arbitrage is gone. Sure. So, yep. Cool. Is that it? That's it.
Yay.
For my screen sharing, how do I stop screen sharing?
You did. You did. I made you small again.
Cool. Yeah. So what, next video or anything, or I think we're still trying to do like a once a week, right?
Yeah. And we'll keep everybody updated as far as what's going on, and obviously if you're a VIP, you're watching this, you're in the forums, and you have stuff we didn't cover or we didn't cover it enough, post it up, man. We'll definitely try to address everything that needs to be addressed, and obviously as things develop and we move on, we'll post the updates when we have more fun stuff to talk about. But I think that's pretty good coverage. I think we answered the questions that were out there, and pretty much it.
Cool.
All right, brother. Well, I will sign off, and we'll meet up next time.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks.
See ya.
See you guys.